Welcome back to Character Craft. I'm your host, Mitchell Drake. We're back with another randomly generated D&D character. Let's go ahead and get the wheels spinning. I feel every video so far I keep talking about the wheel and then it lands on something and my squirrel brain activates and I'm screwed. Feel it out. Okay, so this is good. I can explain and do this at the same time. So feel it out basically means we're going off wheel. I'm going to work with a concept and work backwards. So a couple weird concepts that I have in mind. I think there was a ranged fighter I wanted to do that can hang out on the ceilings. So I know there's like the Dampier race, which does have the spider walk ability kind of built in. So we're gonna try and make the best thing out of that. Immediately off the top of my head, we have to get from the ground to the wall and then the ceiling, or fly up to the ceiling and stay there. I just kind of like the idea of fighting in that extra dimension. It's gonna be impossible to do on the tabletop, but we'll make it fun. We'll figure it out. We will be back in the Forge. We are at the Forge for the first Feel It Out character. Feel It Out lets me work with a concept that I try to figure out how to build instead of the wheels telling me what my restrictions are. This time around, I really wanted to build a character that fights from the ceiling because I think that's really cool. But I do have some other options on my list here. This one says 3 kobolds in a trench coat. I've got werewolves. I've got vampires. I've got another one that says crab dragon. So there's some really weird stuff on this list. For the character, though, there are 3 immediate problems we have to figure out for this to work. Getting to the ceiling, staying on the ceiling, and playing effectively from the ceiling. We have a few options for getting to the ceiling. The obvious one being flight. There are a handful of races that can fly at this point. It would be really simple to flap some wings and get up there, but at that point, why wouldn't you just stay flying? It kind of removes the fun of the concept, so we're just going to go ahead and scrap that. I'm going to throw this into this category too. You can always just, buy an item or have an artificer make you something that lets you jump or walk to the ceiling, but that's also in the boring category. The second option being teleportation, which is not a bad choice. Shatterkai and Eladrin elves have teleports as racial features. Misty Step is offered by a handful of subclasses and can also be easily grabbed with the Fey Touch feat. I think it's a decent option. All of them have 30-foot range, and the Misty Step spell is one of the best in the game. Definitely not bad just to have on you, but I have something else in mind. We're going to be jumping. The jumping builds are dumb but fun, and that's all I care about with Feel It Out. We can always grab the jump spell. Obviously, tripling your jumping distance is amazing, and was my immediate thought for making this build work. Jump can be found on the Artificer, Druid, Ranger, Sorcerer, and Wizard spell lists, and does not require concentration, so that does kind of open up our options. The best jumping race in D&D is Grungs. They have a standing leap feature, which gives them a standing jump of 15 feet and a long jump of 25 feet without requiring a running start. The jump spell now gives us a 45-foot vertical leap, and that's a great start for our jumper. Grungs also get a free climbing speed of 25 feet as well, although climbing speed alone does not let you stay on the ceiling. There are also a couple subclass features that increase jumping speed significantly. The Bestial Soul Barbarian can jump a distance in amount of feet equal to their athletics roll. The Psi Warrior Fighter can use their Psi-powered leap to jump twice their walking speed as a bonus action. Graviturgy Wizards can use their Adjust Density feature to make themselves lighter and double their jumping distance. And the Way of the Ascendant Dragon Monk can use Wings Unfurled to fly at their walking speed until the end of the turn. We've got our options for jumping out of the way. Let's find some sticking power. There's only one race that can stick to the ceiling without having to use their hands, Dampier, which are basically just vampires. They have the Spider Climb feature, which grants them the effect of the Spider Climb spell, which just gives you a climbing speed and lets you walk on walls and ceilings without using your hands. The Path of the Beast Barbarian also has a feature that lets you climb on the ceilings, but does not specifically mention your hands are free. I would assume that they're not, so we're just going to go ahead and skip that. And returning to the Spider Climb spell, it can be found on the Artificer, Sorcerer, Wizard, and Warlock spell lists. That gives us 3 class crossover options in Artificer, Sorcerer, and Wizard if we choose not to use a Dampier for Spider Climb. But what can we do once we're on the ceiling? Unfortunately, this is the criteria that knocks out some of the cooler options. As much as I would have loved to build a buff beast barbarian Dampier with 2 separate bite attacks, none of those features let us effectively attack from range. As a side note, the beast barbarian has a lot of features that fit really well into role-playing a vampire: fangs, claws, walking on walls, a pseudo-hypnotic ability, and infectious fury, and the creation of a coven with Call of the Hunt are all very cool. I might keep this in mind for a future character, but let's move on to the build I chose. We are building a Grung Hexblade Warlock Storm Sorcerer Multiclass. We're going to start Hexblade Warlock level 1 because it gives us access to a light crossbow immediately. Because the crossbow is a piercing weapon, we can also use the Grung's Poisonous Skin feature, which gives you an extra 2d4 poison damage on your attacks if the target fails a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. At level 2, the improved Pact Weapon Invocation lets us use the crossbow as a spellcasting focus. It also gets us a +1 to attacks and damage rolls, and also lets the crossbow be our Pact Weapon for the Pact of the Blade boon. At level 3, you can also get Devil's Sight here. It lets us see through magical and non-magical darkness up to 120 feet, which is great because Grungs don't naturally have dark vision. At level 3, we're taking the Pact of the Blade Pact boon. Lets us conjure our crossbow in an action and keep it around unless it's away from us for more than 1 minute. It also gives us access to special invocations at later levels. You can take the Spider Climb spell at this level and can stand on short ceilings with just our normal froggy standing jump at this point. At level 4, we take the crossbow expert feat so we don't have to worry about reloading anymore, and don't attack with disadvantage when attacking with the crossbow at melee range. At level 5, we're going to take another invocation. Thirsting Blade lets us make a second attack when attacking with our crossbow. Crossbow expert means we don't have to reload in between these shots as well. At level 6, we're taking our first level in Storm Sorcery. We're here for the Tempestuous Magic feature, which gives us a 10-foot flying speed until the end of the turn, either before or after we cast a leveled spell. It's activated via a bonus action, so you can actually cast Spider Climb with your action, jump 15 feet into the air with your Standing Leap feature, activate Tempestuous Magic as a bonus action while you're in the air, and that gives you an extra 10 feet of verticality, which means you can stick to a 25-foot ceiling with Spider Climb. You also get the jump spell from the Sorcerer spell list at level 1, so this combo also works with jump if you already have Spider Climb active before a battle begins. But if you do it with the jump spell, you can now reach 55-foot ceilings. I think we've done it at this point. We've reached our goal and even the reasonably tallest ceilings, but this character has more to offer, so we're going to go deeper. At level 7, we get Font of Magic from the second level of Sorcerer. Font of Magic lets us turn our new sorcery points into spell slots, and vice versa. This is awesome with the Warlock because we regain spell slots on a short rest with the Warlock and sorcery points on a long rest with the Sorcerer, meaning we can recycle any unused spell slots into sorcery points before the short rest and immediately gain those spell slots back when the short rest is done. This lets us go buck wild with sorcery points because we effectively have much more than our maximum implies. At level 8, we get 2 meta magic options from the third level of Sorcerer to use our bounty of sorcery points on. Take Quicken Spell and Extended Spell. Quicken Spell lets you cast spells as a bonus action like Jump or Spider Climb, but Extended Spell, that's where the money is. It only takes 3 total sorcery points to turn Spider Climb into an 8-hour long ability with Extended Spell. Spider Climb does take concentration, but you're a Hexblade Warlock with a crossbow, you're going to be using that for the majority of your damage anyway. At level 9, take a 4th level in Sorcerer for the Sharpshooter feat, meaning you can shoot your crossbow a full 320 feet without disadvantage, you ignore half and 3/4 cover, and you can choose to take a -5 penalty before each attack roll to get a +10 buff to the damage roll. This means that you're standing upside down on a ceiling, shooting a full distance of 320 feet in light, or 120 feet in darkness, magical or otherwise, and without any problems or having any need to reload. From this point, you can either take the rest of the levels in Warlock, or if you want to dip into Fighter for 3 to 4 levels, you can take the Battlemaster subclass. The archery fighting style with Fighter is going to help with a -5 from Sharpshooter, and so will the Precision Attack maneuver. You can also take things like Distracting Strike and Goading Attack maneuvers to support your party from the sky. Once you have 9 levels in Warlock, you can choose the Otherworldly Leap Invocation, which gives you the jump spell without having to spend a spell slot. You can max out your Charisma score for better attacks and damage. The Life Drinker and Eldritch Smite invocations, along with your Poison Bolts, will keep your damage relevant throughout the middle and later levels. And I'm going to name this character Creme Froge. I imagine our froggy friend as a carefree, friendly, and having absolutely zero thoughts going on in their head at all times. I'm fully confident that they spend their downtime getting into trouble and annoying their friends, who can't believe this is the same grunge that turns into a terrifying sniper on the walls and ceilings of their battlefield. What he lacks in common sense, he makes up for in combat competency, fully abusing the powers granted by his bloodline and the prowess of his Hexblade crossbow. I see his crossbow's personality being hostile and aggravated at all times due to our character's careless nature. I love Creme Froge. Grungs are my favorite race in D&D because of the shenanigans their kit lets them do. And some side notes for this build: you are able to shoot your Hexblade crossbow from an insane distance away, but for your Hexblade's curse, you need to be within 30 feet of the target. Once cursed, there isn't a range limit on keeping them cursed, so you have to target them and then ditch them for the ceiling in particularly tall rooms. The 6th level features from the Storm Sorcerer don't blend well with the rest of our build, so we don't get value from increasing our Sorcerer level beyond more sorcery points. And Spider Climb being concentration means we lock ourselves out of the free smite spells that come with the Hexblade subclass. The Grunge is also exclusively a small race category, so that means we can't lift the heavy crossbow because we don't have the strength requirement to do it. We're going to be stuck with the 1d8 from the light crossbow, but all the other damage buffs we're getting from other features should counteract that a little bit. This character wasn't designed to be optimal, but I did accomplish the goal I was set out to make: a constantly upside down ceiling assailant. I found a few more ways to get this to work when looking through my options, but let me know what you have in mind in the comments. I'm going to be back soon with another randomly decided D&D character. Have a great day and sleep well.